one of the dancers says that Lizzo allegedly coerced the dancers to eat a banana that was sticking out of some nude performer's vagina. Apparently that's part of the lawsuit. So they're alleging sexual harassment and all these nasty things. So apparently she has weight shamed her dancers and has made backhanded comments about how they're not really committed to the job because they've gained some weight. I mean, imagine being weight shamed by Lizzo herself. Welcome back to another episode of The Shift with Gina. As you know, this podcast is brought to you by The Shift, my women's group hosted on Mighty Networks. We have a lot of fun stuff happening in our group coming up soon. Starting on Monday, we are doing a meal prep challenge that is going to give you 4 weekly recipes, tons of information about how to meal prep and prepare your kitchen and your home and your family for nutritious, delicious food throughout the week. It's going to come with a meal prep template and all that. And of course, you also get access to the 4 weekly workouts that we're doing in the shift: Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. If you can't make the live stream workouts, you can always check out the recorded episodes so you can do the workouts on your own. We've done a fertility series in the past. There's a ton of exclusive content and a lot of exclusive interviews happening in the shift. We just did a really great episode with a fertility awareness educator that explained to women how to naturally track your cycle. So if you want to get off the pill, or you've recently gotten off the pill and you want to learn how to track your cycle naturally to naturally prevent pregnancy or maybe even get pregnant, that episode is going to be good for you. So click the link in the description to join the shift. And don't forget to share the show. If you guys like my podcast, please share it. I don't really do ads. I mean, I'm still a small show, but I get approached, here and there for ads, but I'm not really interested in doing ads. What I really want to do is give you guys a lot of really great information and just shed some light on the women's group that I have, which is where all the really good work comes in. So let's get into today's episode. We're going to talk about the Lizzo lawsuit. Yes, the body positive queen herself is apparently fat shaming women. What a shocker. Color me shocked. This lawsuit is brought to Lizzo by her former dancers. The plaintiffs in the suit are Ariana Davis, Crystal Williams, Noel Rodriguez, who have all previously performed with Lizzo, and their attorney, Ron Zambrano, has shared the lawsuit with NBC News. It not only targets Lizzo, but also her production company and her dance captain, Shirlene Quigley. Among the allegations are accusations of religious and racial harassment, false imprisonment. Apparently there was a situation where a girl was held against her will in an office or something, interference with prospective economic advantage. And the lawsuit states, quote, "The stunning nature of how Lizzo and her management team treated their performers seems to go against everything Lizzo stands for publicly, while privately she weight shames her dancers and demeans them in ways that are not only illegal, but absolutely demoralizing." There are apparently one incident in an Amsterdam club where one of the dancers says that Lizzo allegedly coerced the dancers to eat a banana that was sticking out of some nude performer's vagina. I'm so sorry I have to share that information with you, but apparently that's part of the lawsuit. So they're alleging sexual harassment and all these nasty things. So apparently she has weight shamed her dancers and has made backhanded comments about how they're not really committed to the job because they've gained some weight. I mean, imagine being weight shamed by Lizzo herself. By that. Imagine that weight shaming you at work. So this lawsuit has blown up. Everyone's talking about it because it shatters this public persona that we know of Lizzo, because everything she stands for, all the messages she gives on social media platforms, on the stages at award shows, all of these messages are about women's empowerment, body positivity, fat acceptance, compassion, anti-bullying. These are all her messages, right? So it's just rich. It's just rich that she is being accused of hostile work environment, wage shaming, and sexual harassment. And of course, Lizzo was being exposed as the mean girl here because she's the toxic woman who coerces other women to engage in destructive behavior. And that's because Lizzo and every other proponent of the body positivity and fat acceptance movement are the perfect examples of the mean girl, the toxic friend. And that's the inherent nature of body positivity. It is at its core a toxic, emotionally manipulative, dishonest movement that only wreaks havoc on women. So that's what we're going to talk about today because, yeah, it's fun and you can kind of laugh at the funny things and the crazy things that Lizzo has done to her past dancers. But the heart of this really is just further proof that the body positivity movement is incredibly toxic. Body positivity is toxic because it pretends to be rooted in compassion and kindness, but in reality, it encourages women to engage in very destructive behaviors. It encourages women to be obese, unhealthy, and be averse to personal responsibility and discipline. Body positivity downright lies to women, and it makes obesity sound like it's good for them. The body positivity movement has now resulted in magazine covers that actually says this is healthy. This is healthy. The lifestyle of being obese is now not only beautiful, but it's healthy. You know, body positivity is emotionally abusive, like some kind of ex-boyfriend or abusive husband, convincing you that this habit or this behavior is actually good for you. Even though you know deep down that it's the absolute worst possible behavior that you could ever engage yourself in. Eat all the ice cream you want. You don't have to go to the gym. Just accept your obese body as it is, because even though society has told you that it's wrong, there's really nothing wrong with it. So body positivity keeps women in a prison of bad habits and self-harming activities, just like that abusive boyfriend who will convince his girlfriend that not being able to go see her friends or needing his permission to do anything is actually good for her in the long run. This is good for you and it's good for our relationship. So this is just the way that it is. Even though people tell you it's wrong, even though your girlfriend and your sisters tell you it's wrong, this is actually good for you. That's pretty much what body positivity is. And it's even more toxic when the skinny girls act like they're fat acceptance allies. The beautiful influencers who are a size 2 and they have perfect skin and shiny hair and they look great in crop tops, and the editors and writers who create all of this content on women's digital media platforms about how fat acceptance and body positivity are good for women. I know because I used to work in those newsrooms. I used to work for these women's digital media companies where every single woman I saw who was writing about body positivity and fat acceptance was skinny, worked out often, ate organic food, would never in a million years let herself be a size 14. So that's inherently how toxic body positivity is. It's run by frauds. It's run by women who actually want to see you fail. There is nothing more toxic than that, especially because that is wrapped up in this fake bow of compassion and kindness and anti-bullying. That's what makes it especially toxic, is that they twist it and they flip it on its head and they make it sound like it's for your own good. The absolute worst thing that you can do is all of a sudden for your own good. Especially now considering the fact that we have the highest rates of obesity we've ever seen. Nearly half of American adults are obese. 6 out of every 10 Americans live with a chronic illness. 4 out of every 10 Americans live with 2 or more chronic illnesses. Don't forget that obesity is the #1 contributor to things like heart disease, stroke, many cancers, diabetes, all of these issues that contribute very likely to an early death or a very unhappy, painful life. It is so dishonest and destructive and downright evil to downplay this. And instead of actually help people heal their bodies and live happier and healthier lives, the body positive and fat acceptance crowd tells them that they're perfect and they're beautiful just the way that they are, because they want to keep these women down. They want to keep them unhappy. They want to keep them unhealthy while emotionally manipulating them and emotionally abusing them into thinking that this obese lifestyle is good for them. I was once 50 pounds overweight. I was ugly. I was fat. I was depressed. And the meanest thing that people said to me was not that I looked fat, was not that I looked bad. It was that I was perfect just the way that I was. And this made me stay in that vicious, dangerous cycle of overeating and then lying to myself and convincing myself that the beauty standards were the problem, which only eventually led me to feel more devastated and more sad because I was lying to myself, which then made me overeat all over again and turn to food for comfort. I used to keep a whole box of the chocolates, the Hershey's and all that underneath my bed. I would wake up and eat ice cream for breakfast because at that point in my life, I had bought into the body positivity movement. I was writing a lot of the content for these digital magazines, and I was buying into all this lie that it's really just the beauty standards that are the problem. You're perfect just the way that you are. So nobody at the time told me that I was fat or ugly, even though I was fat and ugly. I mean, I can't even look at pictures. The only picture I have for me during that time, I had already lost 20 pounds. So I wasn't even at my fattest. And I looked bad. I looked really bad. There was one person in my life who was very honest with me and told me that I was selling myself short and that I could do better. And there was some changes in my life that I needed to make. That person today would be considered someone rude and unkind, right? But that person was the only person who actually cared about me. And it was actually the first step that I started to turn my life around. But this is what they do. They tell these women who are very overweight and obese, they tell them that they're perfect because they want to keep them down. They want to keep them unhappy and unhealthy. There's nothing you can say that will convince me otherwise. And another reason why the body positivity movement is so toxic is because it conflates beauty with health. And that makes the argument untouchable. This is how body positive and fat acceptance activists shield themselves from any kind of criticism or feedback because they make their health and their physical beauty synonymous when they're two separate things. Actually, they're not two separate things. Let me backtrack. They're not two separate things because your natural beauty comes as a result of your health, right? So that's why a lot of times people can see what your health is like smokers look a certain way, drug addicts look a certain way, someone who has serious liver detoxification issues look a certain way. But the thing about the body positivity movement is that they conflate health with this sort of fake beauty standard, right? So if you say anything about a woman's weight or her health status, the body positive goblins have been programmed to jump down your throat, accuse you of being mean and judgmental. They accuse you of trying to control women's bodies and police women's bodies, even though the only person who really cares about obese women is the one who is willing to tell them that they're suffering from a metabolic disorder and their life would be better if they lost weight and adopted a healthy lifestyle. But the body positive and fat acceptance goblins have conflated beauty and health. And like I said, that makes their argument totally untouchable. That's the shield they put up online on social media to where you can't say anything about how obesity kills, and obesity is the number one contributor to the leading causes of death, because they twist it around and they make it sound like you are somehow attacking that woman's beauty, which is just mean. You can't talk about the way that women look. That's just mean. But we're not talking about their beauty. We're not talking about what they're rated on a scale from 1 to 10. We're talking about their health. Coincidentally, if they got healthier, they would be better looking. Body positivity used to be something different when it first came out, in, I would say, the early 2000s and maybe even the early 2010s. Body positivity was about accepting women's bodies that weren't a size 0, because the 90s and the early 2000s was really all about the heroin chic look, right? These models did look very emaciated. Many of them did look really unhealthy, even though they looked good in the fashion campaigns because of all the touch-ups and the lighting and the makeup and the glam team. But a lot of these women were severely malnourished and they were underweight, and that's not healthy either. And so the body positivity that first hit the mainstream culture and gained popularity in the early 2000s and early 2010s was about encouraging women to embrace their natural figures, right? So maybe you're a size 8, maybe you have a C-section scar, maybe, you have bigger hips that don't fit into the same clothes that supermodel Kate Moss is fitting into, right? So the body positivity movement was not always this toxic. When it first came out, it was really about celebrating the fact that women's bodies look different. Everyone kind of has a different figure. Not everyone is going to fit into the mold of the Victoria's Secret supermodels, right? And what's become so toxic now too is that body positivity as we know it today has not resulted in any sort of representation of women's bodies. Because if you look at the media today, fashion, social media, there are only 2 types that you see. You see the supermodel, thin, size 0, size 2, and then you see the obese, Lizzo and Tess Holiday. And these are the 2 extremes. And there's a lot of in between that normal everyday women usually look like, and it's not being celebrated. So it's really not at all about representation, because if we were going to talk about representation, then we would see more women who are a size 6 or 8. We would see more women a size 10, not more women who are a size 20 or 24. I think Tess Holiday is like a size 24 or something, and she's plastered everywhere. All these morbidly obese women are plastered everywhere. So it's not even about representation, even though they claim that it is. So Lizzo is the mean girl. She's the bully, even though she has created this whole fake platform about anti-bullying. She's created this entire persona about self-acceptance, self-love, accepting your body and loving your body. She does all those videos where she's like half naked and she's shaking her butt and talking about how it's all about loving yourself, when it's really just the most narcissistic thing ever. She's not doing that to accept herself or to tell you to accept yourself. She's doing that just to get attention and to show off and get clicks and views and to just be raunchy for the sake of it. It's so dishonest. It's really disingenuous. But Lizzo is the mean girl. And it's ironic, isn't it? Because pretty, thin, fit girls are portrayed as the mean ones in movies and TV shows. The movie Mean Girls is probably the most quintessential example. Regina George is the most beautiful girl in school. So is Gretchen Wiener. And they're the mean girls. They're the ones who are really mean because they're so beautiful. And then Katie Heron moves from Africa, and she's another one of the mean girls because she's so beautiful too. So they want you to think that beautiful women who are thin and perhaps genetically blessed are the ones who are the meanest. Even though in real life, I think if Regina George were a real person, she would not be that mean. She'd probably be so nice because she's pretty and, because she's pretty. Because I'll tell you from personal experience, and many other women I know have said the same thing. They agree with me. I find that the more beautiful women, the thin, fit women, are actually the friendliest and the warmest people who are the least likely to be bullies. The girls who were the meanest to me growing up, who made fun of me for the way that I looked and made fun of my Chinese eyes and being short or whatever, the women who made fun of me were the overweight, ugly ones. And I don't say ugly in the sense that like they weren't born with a perfectly symmetrical Margot Robbie face, or they don't have good fashion, or, their hair wasn't very pretty. No, I mean ugly in the sense that like they're so ugly on the inside that it made them ugly on the outside. There are always exceptions, of course. I'm sure that, there are plenty of beautiful women who are also bullies. And I'm sure there are plenty of obese, not so pretty girls who are very nice. But I'm just telling you, in my general experience in high school, in college, even in graduate school, the prettier girls tend to be nicer. And it leaves you with the question of the chicken or egg situation. Does being pretty make you nice, or does being nice make you pretty? Probably a little bit of both. Because like I said earlier, your physical health shows up in the way that you look. So if you're someone who looks pretty, you have full cheeks, you have full lips, shiny, healthy hair, your figure looks like it's proportional and you look fit, that often indicates that you are physically healthy, that you eat well and you exercise, or you at the very least take care of yourself. So it does, they're related. And obese women who are not considered beautiful or sexy by traditional standards, they have every reason to be mean to others, especially the pretty girls, because they're not happy with themselves and they're not content with their appearance. So they want to bring others down to their level of misery. And that's exactly what Lizzo was allegedly doing with her dancers. And that's exactly what any other body positive or fat acceptance girl is doing with their followers and their friends. They want to bring other women down because they are not happy with themselves. So this whole movie trope of the pretty, thin, blonde girl being the bully, just going to tell you again, in my personal experience, is not really how it is. The prettier girls are usually the nicer ones. Because, all my friends are very pretty and they're all very nice. I usually find that the women who are ugly on the inside, they're usually ugly on the inside because they're just really unhappy with the way that they feel and with the way that they look, so that they treat others poorly. And that's what Lizzo's doing. She's weight shaming other women. Lizzo, that is weight shaming other women. Come on. I'm telling you, the unhappy, ugly girls are the ones who are the bullies. So that's really what this whole Lizzo situation reminded me of, is that we can no longer accept the body positivity and fat acceptance movement for what it is. Long gone are the days where body positivity actually strives to help women feel better about themselves. Because what body positivity has turned into is just this toxic, emotionally manipulative, abusive movement that encourages women to self-destruct in the name of compassion and empowerment. But it's all fake. You see all these headlines now. The Self magazine came out last year, I think, with this huge cover and series of articles called The Future of Fitness is Fatness or something like that. And it was all about these very obese girls posing for photos and talking about how their personal trainer was mean to them because he asked her if she knew what a calorie was. Like these obese fat acceptance girls are just mean, and they want to promote this sick, twisted trend of encouraging other women to be obese. And it's disgusting, particularly because of the state that our country is in right now. The number one public health crisis that we are seeing in our country right now is obesity. And I'm the mean one because I point that out. I'm the mean one because I tell people that it's not healthy to be obese. I'm the only one who cares. Not the only one. There are plenty of other people who are also saying this message, but I'm the mean one. We're the mean ones. Why? Because we care enough to tell the truth. Because compassion and truth go hand in hand. You cannot separate the two. So if you are going to be truly compassionate, you are going to tell the truth. I'm not saying that you have to be mean and call obese people nasty names and strip away their rights and kick them out of gyms and restaurants. No, I'm not saying that. There's obviously a middle ground there. But at the same time, it's just as cruel to lie to them and encourage them to continue walking down the self-destructive path. And I'm not going to stand for it anymore because I'm watching the state of the country. And you might think that body positivity and fat acceptance is just this sort of trivial, shallow thing. No, it's making a difference. It's making waves. And it is contributing to the downfall of our society. And it's contributing to millions of men and women who are slowly killing themselves, making themselves dumb and easier to be brainwashed, because being obese, being extremely unhealthy and overweight lowers your IQ, causes cognitive decline. This is what they want. They want that. They want you to be fat because you're much easier to control. It's like the movie WALL-E. You're just going to sit there and be fat and pay your taxes and die. Oh, and also be a slave to big pharma and the conventional medical system so you can make the millions of dollars along the way during your miserable, unhealthy life. So no, I refuse to sit down and accept body positivity as this compassionate trend when it's actually the most destructive thing that's happening in our culture today. So if you are someone who is struggling with your health, or you know a friend It's got to be a lady. Sorry, the shift is only for women. If you know a friend, a sister, an aunt, your mom, someone who is struggling with their health and they don't know where to start, my women's group, The Shift, has so many different women from all walks of life, different ages. They're from not only from all over the US, but from all over the world. And we're all in this group to improve ourselves, to improve our health, to learn more about nutrition, hormones, even learning about fertility, all of these things that really matter that you did not learn in school and that they're not teaching you in most of these digital magazines. So if you want to join, click the link in the description. It's a really great community. We have such a great group of women. Many of them are very dedicated to a weight loss journey. Many of them have been very successful. So click the link in the description to join and take care of yourselves, guys. Go outside in the morning, get some sunshine, eat nutrient-dense foods, cook as much as you can at home. Try not to eat out as much as you can because that's where you eat all the seed oils and the nasty ingredients and the foods that are just really lacking in nutrition. So take care of yourselves and we'll see you next time. Today's my birthday. Well, not the day that you're watching this, not the day that this episode is released, but the day that I'm filming this is my birthday. So I'm not even going to tell you the exact date because I never tell my birthday, but a birthday present to me, like I already said, is just take care of yourselves and don't let body positivity live online. Okay, so if you see those stupid body positivity posts, don't be mean, but just go in and let them know that we're not going to take it anymore. That's the birthday gift to me. And join The Shift. Share with your friends. If you're a guy listening, share with your, girlfriend, sister, wife, whatever, to join The Shift. And see you next time. Bye.